Every Friday morning, 9 o'clock, we like to welcome on a guest for more of a long-form conversation to take you into the weekend. And we are happy to welcome on and say good morning to a guy who needs absolutely no introduction in this town, and that is Chiefs Hall of Famer Deron Cherry joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. Deron, good morning. It's great to have you here. Thanks for the time.
Hey, man, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, let me just start off with this. We like to, in these conversations, get into individuals' backgrounds. You grew up in New Jersey. So did you grow up a Philadelphia Eagles fan as a South Jersey guy?
Of course, you know it. I sure did.
When did you kick that fandom? That's what I want to know.
Oh, man. I tell you what, I've got a brother that still lives back there. He's a season ticket holder for the Eagles, and when we won it a couple years ago against them, I had all the bragging rights. So now he's got all the bragging rights. So I kicked that can down the road a long time ago. I think when I started playing in the league, I kicked that can. They became one of my most hated teams. But no, I was a Philly fan growing up. I mean, you had to be in that area. So it was nice.
Well, as I went to Villanova, so I dealt with all that Philly and Eagle craziness during 4 years of college, and that South Jersey community where you grew up, man, they love those Eagles. It is as much a religion there as it is here with the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, it's been such a great sports town. I mean, you get not only did you have the Eagles, but you had the Phillies, you had the Flyers, you had the 76ers, and it was just it was a great time to grow up back then, and to see all these great players that you kind of idolized growing up. And I got a chance to know some of the Eagle players, during the times when they were really, really good. So it was a special time for me. It was good to grow up in an area where sports was, so prevalent.
So who was your guy growing up that you looked up to or wanted to be?
So the guy, well, there were two guys. So my high school played against a high school that was down in the country, but there was a guy named Franco Harris that played for that high school, and I got a chance to see Franco Harris play when I was a youngster, and he was in high school, and I remember him playing against my school, and we were a smaller school. We shouldn't have been even playing his school, but I remember watching him rush for like 250 yards and 5 touchdowns against my high school. Now, when you think of Franco Harris and you look at the size of Franco Harris, he was that big when he was in high school. And it was just amazing to see somebody that big. So I always grew up, I was a big Franco Harris fan. And then for the Eagles, the guy that I met that probably had a big influence on me and my career, and just the way his personality and the way he played the game, was a safety the Eagles had by the name of Randy Logan. He was a guy that I knew. He was good friends with my dad, and he used to always give me advice when I was in college, and I just never forgot it. He really made a grave impact on me.
What was that relationship between your father? What did he do for a living that he knew these guys?
So my dad was a principal in high school and in middle school, but he was also my dad umpired baseball for like 40 years, and he refereed basketball for like 35 years. So he was always around people. And then he, during his spare time when he had it, he would go over and he would be an usher like at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia for like the Phillies, and then at the Eagles games sometimes. And he got to know a lot of these guys. So that's how, my dad always had the gift of gab. There wasn't a person he met that he didn't like. And he was, he just, people just gravitated to him. And so we used to go to a lot of sports games growing up because he was a basketball official and umpire in baseball. So we traveled a lot and saw some, great guys growing up. And, of course, he took us to a lot of the professional sporting games. And so that's kind of was my background in sports growing up.
Deron Cherry is here, and of course, Chiefs Hall of Famer joining us on KCMO. The Deron Cherry Foundation has some great events coming up we'll tell you about here. But before we get to that, Deron, you're a New Jersey guy. You play your career here in Kansas City. And after you retire, of course, following the 91 season, you stay here. Kansas City becomes your home. Anytime I talk to athletes on the show or off the show on why they stayed in Kansas City when they weren't from here, there seems to be a common theme about, this community embracing them. What was it for you that kept you in Kansas City?
Same thing, Pete. This community embracing me and, giving me all the support that I needed, coming in here as a rookie free agent punter, right? And then becoming an all-pro safety. And, there was some struggling times with this football team and organization back when I was playing. But, the fans stuck with us. They supported us through thick and thin. And then when we started to get good and, Arrowhead kind of changed, it became a really, really good place to be and to experience. So I would say, just the support that I've gotten, and then the fact that, finishing my career and then wanting to support our community and do the things we're doing with the Deron Cherry Foundation and continue to have the support. It's been 33 years, I think, now that we started the foundation, and we're still going strong. And that's only because of the support we get from this tremendous community. So for me, it's always been a love affair and really wanting to have that opportunity to give back to this community that's been so good to me.
What do you have coming up? I know, it's 33 years, I believe it is, for the Deron Cherry Foundation, which is amazing. What's next on the to-do list for the foundation this year?
So coming up, as we get into the fall, we've got a number of different things. We'll have a back-to-school event for teachers to be able to come in and get their supplies for free. We just finished a donation drive for a lot of the nonprofit charities in Kansas City, where we had it down at my office where they could come in and just pick up items that they need, clothing items that they'll need for the winter. And we've got a great partnership with Target, and they've been really helpful in giving us opportunities to provide, items for our community. So that's been great. And then coming up in the fall, we have our biggest fundraiser that we have every year is our Deron Cherry Celebrity Golf Tournament. It's a 2-day event, and we have an auction on September 27th, and then we'll play two days of golf on the, I believe it's the 29th and 30th. Let's see, 27th, 29th and 30th, that Monday and Tuesday. So those are that's our biggest events coming up. And if you want to be involved, if you want to be a volunteer or a sponsor, you can reach out on the Deron Cherry Foundation.org website. And, we are always looking for support and always looking to partner with our community and to be able to provide opportunities for those that we help and support.
How unusual was it for you, Deron? I mean, when you retire, you launched the foundation right away here in Kansas City. This was, listen, I mean, you guys did well, but it's not like today where these guys are making such incredible amounts of money. Launching that foundation, what was the purpose for you in using your time, your efforts, and your money back in the early 90s to say, this is what I want to do, and I want it to be here in Kansas City?
Yeah, so I had a gentleman who was in my school in high school. He was the janitor, and a gentleman by the name of Merle Pratt. And Mr. Pratt used to let us young kids at the time come in and play in the gym and keep us off the streets. And I always felt, that, if I ever got a chance to honor him in a way, because he gave us that opportunity to keep us off the streets, and knowing that he was going to have to go back in later on that night and clean the gym, and he wasn't getting back home until like midnight or after midnight, but he never told us no. He always would open up an opportunity for us to be in a safe environment and be able to, work on our skills, but more importantly, be able to keep us off the streets and keep us safe. And I always felt that if I ever got an opportunity in a position where I could give back to my community in a way that Mr. Pratt gave to us as young kids growing up in an area that was tough, that I would do that. And a guy by the name of Bob Ritchie, who's a radiologist here in town, came to me and approached me and asked me if I wanted to get involved. At that time, it was with Park Lane Medical Center over there in Raytown, and wanted to do something similar to what Len Dawson was doing at Truman Medical Center, hosting a golf tournament and raising funds for a charity. And so he approached me and we got together, and I told him that I absolutely was very interested, but I wanted it to be kid centric, where we were working with kids. And then eventually we started a program called Score One for Health, where we do health screenings in the elementary schools. We started with one school, about 250 kids. And now with our partnership with Kansas City University, they're screening over 14,000 kids a year now. So
that's amazing.
It's been great.
Absolutely amazing. Deron, we're going to take a quick break and come back, and we'll continue the conversation if that works for you.
That works.
All right. Deron Cherry here, of course, needs no introduction in this town. Chiefs legend, Hall of Famer, and a multiple-time Pro Bowler, joining us for our Feature Friday segment on KCMO. We'll get to him about his favorite moments at Arrowhead and much more coming up next. Chiefs Hall of Famer Deron Cherry is here on KCMO, the Deron Cherry Foundation, always doing great work around Kansas City. So anytime we have these conversations on Fridays with our guests, more of a long-form conversation, people throw out questions on the text line, and usually it's not meant to be insulting to anyone on the text line. It's just usually I don't get to them because I have my questions I want to ask, the follow-ups and things like that. But I thought this was interesting just now on the text line, Deron. Someone texted in, they said, please ask Mr. Cherry about the old artificial turf and what it was like playing on that and the 2 days compared to how the grass and the turf is now. So, Deron, how would you answer that question on the text line?
Well, I probably could play another 20 years or so if I was playing on natural grass and not that turf at Arrowhead Stadium. It's funny. I even have a piece of that turf here at the house. When they tore it up, I wound up getting a piece of it just kind of as a memory type of deal. But, yeah, when you think about it, underneath that turf was like a thick little rubber pad, and then underneath that was just concrete. So you can imagine what that was like playing your entire career on a surface like that, especially when it came to the winter time when it would get really, really cold, and it's just like walking out, in the middle of the street and playing a game, and it just beat your body up so bad. And it was hard to recover. And then, you could seriously tell a difference when the week you played on natural grass as opposed to playing on AstroTurf. Your body reacted so much differently and recovered a lot quicker than being on that surface.
And was there one road trip where you would always appreciate the grass? Because as I recall, a lot of stadiums were doing the AstroTurf then. So which one were you like, oh man, I'm getting grass this weekend, this is going to be good?
Yeah, in our division, most of the other teams, they all had two of them had grass. Denver, and actually three: Denver, San Diego, and the Raiders was all on natural grass. So you knew. And then during the time when, of course, Seattle, we played them, but they played inside on the dome and didn't like that too much. So, but other than that, yeah, any National Football League stadium that had grass was really great, except for those back in the day, you had those multi-purpose stadiums where they were playing baseball in it, and, sometimes early in the year, you'd have to go play and the baseball field would still be down, and you'd have that really hard infield surface that you had to play on that your spikes couldn't even grip into, and it was like playing on skates. So, I didn't care for that too much either.
Deron Cherry's joining us on KCMO. So, with all these conversations, of course, around the future of these two teams and the stadiums, where are you at in terms of what you want to see the Chiefs potentially do when it comes to the future of Arrowhead?
Well, of course, I want them to stay at Arrowhead. I mean, there's nothing like Arrowhead. I know, if they can get another 20-plus years out of Arrowhead, I think it'd be great. for the team to stay there. I just know eventually, they're going to have to build a new stadium at some point in time. But I think we can kick that can down the road a little bit. And then, for the Royals baseball, most cities love to have baseball downtown. It kind of makes sense. I'm a little biased because I have a business downtown, and it'd be great to have the Royals downtown from a selfish standpoint. But I think as long as we can keep both the teams in Jackson County, I'd be happy.
So, Deron, how about, when you think back to your playing days, is there one game that stands out to you in terms of the loudest you ever heard Arrowhead?
Oh yeah, there's no question. We're probably thinking the same game. Was that Monday night game against the Buffalo Bills. To me, that night was magical. I mean, this was the Bills. I think they were coming off their maybe second appearance in the Super Bowl or third, whatever it was, and we had them. It was the first time we had been on national TV. We hadn't been on national TV, I mean, for a long time. And we had an opportunity to play them in Kansas City, and that whole game from the afternoon through the whole evening until that game was over. I mean, that was probably the loudest that I've ever heard Arrowhead Stadium. It was almost like it was, it's when the Chiefs got resuscitated. It's like somebody took one of those shock things and just shocked Arrowhead Stadium, and then it just blew up. And from that point on, it just was an amazing place to play.
All right, Deron. So you got the golf tournament coming up in September for the foundation. For folks who want to get involved in anything going on with you, with your foundation, which has been rocking and rolling for 30-plus years here in Kansas City, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, they can go to our website, DeronCherryFoundation.org, and there's some buttons you can click, and Erin Cudor she is our executive director, and she'd be happy to assist in any way, whether it's being a volunteer, whether it's being a sponsor. If you're a business and you want to put a team together, we have available spots to do that. It's a great event. I think people will tell you that it's probably one of the best events every year. It's always a first-class tournament. We have probably one of the best tee packages that we give away, and it's just a fun time where you can come out and relax and enjoy it and entertain customers. We have a lot of people that come and bring their customers, not even that are here locally, but from out of town. So it's really been great. And we have a tailgate party on the Saturday night down at my place of business, United Beverage, and everybody comes dressed in their Chiefs gear, and we just have a great time. So looking forward to that event too as well, where we can raise money for the charities that we support.
Well, Deron, thank you for being here on KCMO. We really appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.
Hey, Pete, thank you. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
You bet. DeronCherryFoundation.org. There you go.